This episode of A Conversation with John Conenna is sponsored by Generate. In today's digital age, staying ahead means harnessing the power of generative AI. Wondering how your small or medium-sized business can join this revolution? Look no further than Generate, your strategic partner for integrating cutting-edge generative AI solutions. We create personalized plans, adapting existing AI technologies to fit your specific business needs. Plus, our expert team provides essential training, empowering you to make the most of these innovative technologies. Interested in transforming your business with AI? Reach out to us at generateteam@gmail.com. That's generate, GENERAIT, team@gmail.com. And now, on with the episode.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Tonight is a very special night because tonight I have brought in three experts in regards to the Chicago Bears as we look at this 24 season, the 2024 season. To my far left is Dave Khoshaba, who will talk about a little bit about the Bears' offensive skills. We're going to talk about Brant Barton, who's going to talk about the Bears' offensive line and what they'll need to pursue if they're going to win this division or get a wild card. And to my right, of course, will be Christopher. We're going to put a lot of the questions on Angelo about Caleb Williams and what has happened here in Chicago the last few years and why they went with Williams. I'm going to start the conversation tonight with Brant Barton. Brant, who here is my closest to my left. Brant, in these four games that we saw, of course, we didn't get a real realization of what was going on. But what were your thoughts after the first four games and what you saw and the changes?
I was impressed. I think they looked good. You know, I would have liked to seen the first string play a little more, so we get a little bit better feel of how they're going to play, especially offensively. I think defensively they led the charge. They absolutely performed, and I think it's going to depend on your offensive line for Mr. Williams to be able to perform at his top level.
And to have that time and to go. David, Khoshaba, how do you feel of what you saw in these four games? Of course, we did go 4-0.
Right.
We didn't see all the starters and that. We saw a lot of the second stringers, but what is your thoughts going into this game and the season with the Titans?
Well, I think, honestly, I think they're building a great team in Chicago right now. They're putting a lot of pieces in place. I think Caleb Williams, if they can protect them, like Grant said, the offensive line plays well. They've got the receiving core. They've got a great running back group, and they could actually. I know people are going to laugh a little, but I think they could actually win the division.
Wow.
I think they're going to split with Green Bay and Detroit. Not sure about Minnesota yet. I think they're hurting a little, but maybe we'll get two out of there. And I add up the games when I look at the schedule. And people laughed at me, but I think they can go 12-6 or 12-5. I'm sorry.
12-5 with the.
I think a lot of people say no way, it's good, 10 games or less, but I think we're gonna see it.
Angelo, we saw a lot of changes in the offseason. It wasn't just about this whole Justin Fields things. We saw a lot of they went after some veteran receivers. They went after some defensive players. Your thoughts on what they acquired when we talk about the offense?
Well, I think what's veteran on the receiver end is going to be major for the rookie they just drafted. DJ will always be DJ. He'll be a number one receiver on any team in the NFL.
Right.
What I saw with the defense is what I saw at the end of last year, which is a top one or two defense in the NFL. The biggest change I see this year, Eberflus. Eberflus is not the guy we knew last year.
Okay.
He is part of this team. He is part of the guys. He's in their head now, and they're going to play for him.
Right.
Hey, he even grew a beard and got a haircut.
Yes,
His wife told him to do that.
He has been the biggest change on the Bears organizations over and above. Listen, Caleb is a phenomenal draft pick. You have to draft him.
You have to.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you have in place. The kids,
Okay.
he has all the
Agreeable.
But I believe the biggest change with the Bears is coach.
Could be.
I'm going to feed off that question and go back to Brant. Brant, do you see the changes with Eberflus, or did you think Eberflus after last season they came on a little bit at the end of the second half, but it just, if we go back to the first half of the season, I thought Eberflus might not be the coach this year. What your thoughts?
I think he got his footing toward the end of the season. And this year, like Angelo said, he's very confident, very much in control. I think he's got his coaches working well with their team. And all the players seem to love the coaching staff. And they're playing hard. They're gonna play hard for him. They're gonna play hard for him, I think.
Yeah, you do see the respect factor that you and Angelo both brought up. Dave, you come out of college. You got this guy Caleb Williams, of course, that has a confidence about him. I'm not gonna say the word arrogant, because arrogance could be fatal. But there's a confidence of a Caleb Williams. Did you see that here with the training camp? Did you see that
Yes.
to the lead up with him?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
What I like, John, not this last week game, but the week before. He went 3 and out, I think 3 series in a row.
3 in a row.
And he did not hesitate to come back and come back strong. I mean, I like that. I like the fact that I think he gets mad when he's not performing.
Sure.
So I like that in a player. He's got a lot of energy, and I think he wants to do well for his teammates and himself. And I'm getting the feeling when these veterans like Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, they're all talking about him and saying he's the real deal. I mean, for those guys who've been around the league, Keenan Allen's been what, over 12 years?
Yeah.
And probably one of the number 1 top receivers in the league, always in the top 6 or 7. So I think they're gonna surprise some people. And the defense, I love. And they just added today another defensive lineman.
And it's a trade with,
And it trades with
Yeah.
Cleveland. no,
And it, guys, just
Cleveland
jump in
Browns
anytime
today.
you want, yeah.
Cleveland Browns today. Yesterday was Seattle Seahawks, and they've got another pass rusher. So, and I like that new kid, the rookie. What's his name? Playing that defensive end.
Is it the,
He's a new kid.
that they just purchased? Angelo, I'll go back to you. A couple of years back, we got rid of I thought a really good running back, and I thought, oh God, what are they doing? They acting like the Chicago White Sox when they get rid of Montgomery. Your thoughts on the running backs as we start the season?
I always thought Herbert was the real deal,
Yeah.
always from day one. And to add on with Deontay Swift,
Right. You were mentioning that.
you
tonight.
know, that's a valuable add-on.
Sure.
But I gotta tell you, what's really. It's the preseason is one thing to look at. We were fortunate in Chicago to see the Hard Knocks series.
Sure.
Now, I've watched 2 of them, that's all I've had the time, I don't know if there's 2 or 3.
Well,
now.
it's only been 2
It's
so
only been
far.
good. I gotta tell you something. You listen to these guys. These are grown-ups playing a kid's game. The excitement is there. And like I said, I think Eberflus got these guys, he's in all their heads. Their defense, they walk off that field. And it's like, we want 3 takeaways every game.
Right.
Caleb, like Dave mentioned, he had 3 bad series.
Sure.
Opening up a preseason game. Any other team would have said, okay, that's enough for the starters, they'll put him back out there.
Eberflus said,
He's gotta have a successful series, he's gotta go out, and you know what? Those are game changers down the road.
Oh, sure, without a doubt.
Oh, can I interrupt one second?
Sure, no, go ahead, anytime.
Okay, so I was reading the paper a lot. Of course, I read all the Bears articles. I read on the phone and everything.
Sure,
Montez Sweat, who's probably their star defensive player at this point, right?
Correct.
They're saying
Andrew, I want you to
He's
get into a
actually-
little bit here with us.
he's actually talking to Caleb, he's talking to the receivers, he's talking to the linemen. He's telling them what they're doing wrong and how they can get better. I mean, that's a teammate, right?
Sure, sure.
Defensive player who's working with the offense saying, here's what you gotta do if you wanna beat this rush.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I like the chemistry they've got going
And I'll
on.
tell you another thing I noticed. Their backup agents,
Yeah, oh yeah,
he's a different guy this year.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
This kid,
He's good.
at some point could be a #1 quarterback,
Yes,
in my opinion. Now, there's, the professionals are gonna go, oh, no. This kid, with this coaching staff,
Yeah,
could be a #1 quarterback. Now,
well, he's a great backup for
But
him.
I believe every NFL team needs 2 #1s,
Oh, yeah,
oh, without a doubt.
in my opinion.
Yep.
Grant, I'm gonna ask you something that, because you guys, again, all three of you know the Chicago Bears pretty well. Are we gonna go back to maybe a Cutler style of football in the quarterback position with the Caleb Williams? What I mean was, you think the Chicago Bears finally can have, besides the run game, the aerial game with the Caleb Williams?
Oh, I definitely think they can. I think, again, it depends on the offensive line, if they give him time. Now, he can definitely scramble and
Sure.
out of the pocket, make throws that, we saw a couple of throws that he made that were unbelievable. Throwing
Right.
across his body and everything. But I think we don't want to get him hurt. We want to protect him and let him play out of the pocket for the most part.
Sure.
And when he has to scramble, he can go do it.
He brings Brand probably a little bit more of a weaponry than let's say, the gentleman Justin Fields, correct?
Yes, I think his ability to throw on the run is much better, and he's got a strong arm out of the pass protection, out of the pocket. He can be accurate.
Yes, yes.
I saw him throw past 80 yards on a dime.
On the day,
I mean, and it looked effortless. I mean, you know, when you see quarterbacks in the league, when they try to get everything they can, and you really see him winding up and going, right? He's like, it looks like he's throwing, really put it in, right? I mean,
Right.
he's got an unbelievable.
I think another sleeper part of the Bears teams for 2024. Their kicking game is phenomenal.
yes, Brand brought that up
Their
before
kicking game
earlier
is
too.
phenomenal. Their field goal unit
Yeah,
is hands-on, probably one of the better ones in the league.
right.
They've got a punter now that he's gonna be top in the league.
He's good, yeah.
Yes, no question about it. What you want with your quarterback is, don't take the hits. Get rid of the ball when, you know what, there's always another down. Get rid of the ball.
Right.
And hopefully he's gonna do that. He doesn't need to try to make the extra 5 yards. And then the ball gets popped out and all these bad
Sure.
things start to happen.
Yeah,
I think he's
it's like a
smart
domino,
enough-
sure.
he's smart enough to do that. And then my other sleeper on this team is Khoshaba.
Oh, yes,
Well, I don't think he's a sleeper.
Well,
mean, the
no
guy-
one talks about it.
Yeah,
They
but the
don't
guy,
talk about it.
yeah, but I mean, the guy's a great blocker, great route runner,
He's gonna be
right?
one of the top
He's in his
tight
spot,
ends in that league.
and he's a great blocker,
Yes.
and he's a team player.
And I saw him
Yeah.
on Hard Knocks, when
Yeah.
he's talking to the people and the guys in the huddle. He's a leader.
Yeah,
That's what we've been missing.
Let's talk, let's, since we're on the theme of offense, let's talk about offense.
okay,
Grant, and then we'll feed back to David and over to Angelo. Are we seeing a different offense from Lucas than we saw with Lucas?
Oh, I think so.
Definitely, right?
We haven't seen it yet.
Our offensive coordinator, by the way, if someone could remind me.
Shane
Waldron.
Baldwin.
Well,
yeah.
good. You saw it here, Brent, right?
Yes.
I don't think you see it.
But we haven't
right
seen
now.
it yet.
You're not gonna see it right now.
Very vanilla offense so
Yeah,
far.
right.
in preseason, you won't see it.
But I think they've got some stuff up their sleeve that'll surprise some people. that's
Sure.
for Sure.
Sure.
They've got a great receiving core.
Oh,
Great, when I
We-
think one of the best, I think in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
we do have the weapons now to go deep, and of course, like
Yeah.
Angela was saying about Herbert with the running back situation. David, will we see a different people Walden over, what? Jetsy was
Absolutely.
Yeah. scrutinized
so-
very much.
Waldron came from Seattle, right? He was a Seattle Seahawks coach. He took Geno Smith, which was really not doing well. all those
No, he
years,
was suffering.
right? He was suffering, and all of a sudden Geno Smith's an all-pro quarterback.
Right,
Wow.
and he had the talent,
Right,
but
so
he was just suffering.
Waldron brought it out of him, whatever it was.
Sure.
And I think that's why the Bears
Hey.
were happy to get him.
Fields had the talent,
Yeah, Fields did a lot of
just didn't
things,
have the right
but
coaching. He
you
didn't
know-
have the talent.
here's what, the thing with Fields, and, you know, I love Justin Fields, don't.
Yes, there was nothing wrong with Justin Fields, but go ahead.
Well, but the problem was. When I look back at games now and I see his old clips and everything, he never saw it downfield. He'd be
Never had a
running,
shot.
he'd take off before he'd even look who's open. Now, what I like about Caleb Williams, he's looking downfield the whole time he's running. I mean, he's looking for somebody open. So that's the difference.
That's
I think, I don't think, as much as we all love Justin Fields and his teammates loved him and he was a great guy, I don't think he was doing that. I don't think he saw downfield.
I
Yeah, he didn't
guys,
see the field.
guys, what's got me confused though, out of one thing, I'm a funny guy. I look at, right when they start knocking out the NFL preseason power rankings.
Sure.
What the heck? The Bears are like down to 20?
Yeah, you had mentioned that also with
And they
Brand
have
earlier
Green Bay
tonight.
and Detroit ahead of them? I don't know, is it, you know what, personally, I think it's a good thing.
Well, Green Bay and Detroit deserve to be ahead of them right now, but I don't think 20 is for the Bears. Honestly, but Green Bay, I mean, they've proven themselves.
They
in the
did
year.
last year, they
And you
proved it.
guys know I hate Green Bay. So I was happy for Detroit because my son-in-law lives in Detroit.
Okay.
But I mean,
Kudos to Matt,
and
yeah.
everybody was happy about
Matt,
the
we love
Lions.
you, but sorry.
Right, but you know, when it comes to playing them, I wanna beat them.
Yeah.
So I don't care, and I really wanna beat.
But you
Green
wanna
Bay.
know something? The coach in Detroit,
Yeah,
he's in all their heads.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They played for him.
For him
He's
too,
the
also,
kinda guy-
right.
He's the kind of guy that a player looks at someone says, I'd be in a foxhole.
Guess what? My son-in-law told me that every player on that team loves him.
Yes.
Dan Campbell.
That's a big.
I love them, and
Yeah.
I'm a Chicago fan.
Yeah.
It gets you to motivate.
So,
Yeah,
Brant,
Yes.
I'll start the next round of questioning with you. Let's just say everything's in place, but we don't have a Caleb Williams right now, and we get the receivers that we do and everything else. The new offensive coordinator, which would have been, I thought, a hard fit for Fields, because now that would have been his third offensive
It's too
coordinator.
much.
Right.
It's too much at one time. But let me ask you. How are we gonna have that confidence, even with the trades, the rookies and everything, if Fields is the quarterback? We're definitely gonna maybe see not the progression that we saw, right?
I don't think so.
No, I
just
don't
think, Fields was kind of not confident in what his abilities are here with this team. He kind of was spent.
Sure.
I think he went to a good place,
Yes,
a good fresh start for him. But I see Caleb Williams with a new offensive coordinator, his first offensive coordinator. I think
good system.
yeah.
they're working hard and they'll do well.
I mean, Justin Fields under Tomlin in Pittsburgh,
Yeah, Mike,
Yeah.
he's gonna be a top quarterback in the league.
we'll see.
There's no question.
Right now, he hasn't performed
He's got-
so well.
He's got the team. He will start for that team.
Yeah, we'll see.
I felt, and Dave, you can answer this, I felt with Getsy, Fields was limited. Do you think I'm right in saying that? Or correct me if I'm wrong?
Honestly, I think Getsy was a little more
Conservative.
conservative,
good
and
point,
yeah,
Brent.
I don't think he let him play his game. I remember one interview with Justin Fields on TV after the game. And he never said anything bad about the coaches, but.
Never.
One of the most respectful guys in the
That
internet,
one time he did say though, I'm gonna start doing what I think is right
for me.
for me, yeah, from here on out.
I think the play calling was very conservative
It was
because they
terrible.
were,
It wasn't good. It was
holding
terrible.
Fields
Yeah.
back from making a mistake.
No, it's
Sure.
terrible.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Angelo, let's feed off what you're saying here. And again, gentlemen, break in at any time on the questioning and anything else. Is that division gonna be pretty tight? Meaning, when we talk about the Lions, we talk about the Packers, we talk about the Bears, like David started the night by saying, I think we're gonna probably split with those two. Do you see this basically a three-horse race in that division?
I agree, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, because everyone plays each other twice.
Twice in the division,
And it's
yeah.
a tough division.
Right.
One of the toughest in the league.
We might be at the toughest division in the league right now.
I agree, I think we do.
I mean, it's not gonna be,
Minnesota's
it's not
gonna have
gonna
some
be
issues
easy.
because they're losing their
Their
quarterback.
quarterback, exactly.
But they have Sam Darnold, and that's what they were gonna go with anyway.
Sure.
So Darnold was gonna start regardless when JJ McCarthy was there, but I'm not saying he wouldn't have gotten in, he might have, but. It's a shame, now they signed, I think they're looking to sign another quarterback for backup,
Okay,
but
Okay.
Minnesota, I mean, they've got a good coach.
sure.
I'm not
Great
sure,
coach, great coach.
yeah, I'm not sure how far they're gonna go, this year, but.
Right now, in my opinion, it's Detroit. And I think Chicago's above Green Bay.
Hey, listen, I'm a Bears fan, you guys know that, I love the Bears, but everything goes through Green Bay and Detroit for us.
I think it's more Detroit than Green Bay, and I think the Bears are a step above Green.
And of course,
The Bears are a step above.
And of course, there's always that rivalry that comes into play with
Right.
all the.
I don't know, guys, like when we played Green Bay, it's like they had the best of us for so many years, right?
Oh, geez.
But if you look back, time into the years, McMahon and these guys, we had the best of them.
Yes, we
We
do.
beat them, I don't know how many times, so, things change, things turn. But they've got a good coach in Green Bay also.
Phenomenal coach.
But yeah,
Ken LaFleur is good.
I'm gonna go back to Brant for a second here, Brant
Yep.
Barton. By the way, we are at basically kind of the halfway point, so I want to again introduce our panel tonight. I'm talking to the three Chicago beer experts tonight. To my far left is Dave Khoshaba. To my short left here is Grant Barton, and then of course we have the Angela Christopher here. Grant, you've been saying this for 2 weeks. Of course, we are enjoying here tonight at Dave Khoshaba's house, some cigars, some really nice drinks, and a wonderful meal here tonight. Grant, I have to ask you, you brought it up 4 times to the point where you're pretty spot on about things like David and Angelo. You keep bringing up this O-line to me as a concern. What is your concern basically with this O-line?
Just pass protection.
Okay,
Pass protection is a key for a young quarterback to establish himself.
sure.
Um,
Is it because, not me being a Chicago Bear, I don't watch it, like say I watch the Chicago Blackhawks. Is it because this line is maybe right now, just at this time, an inexperienced line, a young line? What do you see? Grant?
It is a little inexperienced, and I don't know if the depth there, if we have some injuries. Who's the fill-in, you know? And I know they start swapping positions, and you don't like to see that. You like to see a steady
Sure,
line, and injuries are always a key in the
Yeah.
NFL. And I think that'll be a key for us this year offensively, if our line can stay intact and avoid injuries.
sure. David, feeding off Grant, do you see concerns with the O-line? Because like I said, Grant has brought it up numerous times here.
I think if anything on the Bears, that's my biggest concern right now. I think defensively, they're gonna be great. They've got a great secondary, they've got a great line. They just had another pass rusher. So they won't be able to key on Montez Sweat so much. I think the offensive line, I like it. I love Darnell Wright. I think he's gonna be a second-year player. So he's still learning, but he had a great second year. He really
Sure.
did. And he's a big kid. And then you've got Kevin Jenkins, who's just a nasty guy. He's tough.
Oh, God, he's
okay?
tough.
But he's been hurt. a
He's
lot.
been injured prone.
So, you know, that's what Brent was saying. If depending on how they hold up, I think they'll be okay if they can hold up healthy.
Sure.
If they go down, I don't know who's gonna be behind them.
Sure.
You
Angelo,
got. Every team lives and dies with the injuries,
yes,
especially on key players. The big thing in Chicago, they're all talking about, okay, well, in preseason and practice, all our practices, Williams is going to go up against #1 defense. Okay, that's great. It's a great statement. It sounds good. You know, it looks great out, you know, with the media. Well, let me tell you something. You're the #1 defense. And you're going against the #1 offense in practice, are you really there to take his head off? No. Okay, you're not. Because he's your franchise. So. You're only gonna know that once the game's set. When you play another #1 defense.
Right. got it.
Okay. Yeah, he's our #1 quarterback. We're gonna go after him, but then we're not.
Right.
Psychologically, and they may not say, no, we don't do that, but you know what? Come on, you give up a step. You're not gonna knock your #1.
No, you want.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Do you see Angelo Christopher concerns with the O-line like David and Grant brought up?
To me, that's the only reason to rank where they're at.
Okay, but when you said we talk about the power rankings, right.
And the power rankings, I gotta tell you, you look at them year after year, they're not really that far off. They're pretty good at what they do.
Sure.
So why are we ranked where we're at? There's a weakness somewhere.
Right,
Somewhere there's a weakness.
sure.
And if anything, it's the OL.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and of course,
they see a weakness that we haven't discovered yet.
That we don't know.
right, man. The technology that we have and to review these
The stats that they read and.
films and everything
Yeah,
else.
it's-
Sure. You know, of course, Green Bay since the days of, I'll go back to the days of Bart Starr. I'll go back to the days of Don Mikowski, the Magic Man. I'll go back to the days of Brett Farm. And this last,
Nitsky.
well, I'm talking about the quarterbacks now, but the last gentleman got traded to the Jets. The name is eluding me.
AR or something.
Aaron Rodgers.
So Roger,
Okay, so what I'm trying to get at here is, and now we'll start again with Grant. Here, you know, 4 quarterbacks that have been, you know.
40 years.
40 years. Here we've been, I don't know, that always comes up.
We had 15.
Are we gonna finally see?
Yes.
Maybe a quarterback with Caleb Williams, Brent, that is gonna say, hey, this guy got, of course, knocking on wood, not much wood in this house, this is all marble around here. But I have to tell you, do we see finally, maybe if a Caleb Williams can stay healthy, maybe finally Chicago has a quarterback. We can go back to Bill Wade as our quarterback here.
Right.
Can we see a dominant quarterback in Chicago, Brent?
I think we can, I hope we can. We've watched Green Bay all these years. The last 20-something years, they've got 3 quarterbacks. You know, we're desperately, as Bears fans, we're desperate for a quarterback that'll be with us for his entire career and perform at a high level. And I hoping, and I think we may have one here.
Sure.
Can I tell you what I want?
Yeah, please, Angela.
I would love to see Caleb in 5 years at Lambeau go off after the game to the sideline and go, we own you.
We own you, and return the favor
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Mr. Aaron Rodgers. David,
There's enough of that.
oh, that's been kind of embarrassing, yeah. David, you've been high on Caleb Williams since day one. You've been high on him, and I love the fact that you've been high on him. We are definitely gonna see a different offense, correct? I mean, he's gonna bring, this offense is gonna bring a lot to our
The
table.
difference is the kid's smart. I mean, like I saw him play preseason, like you said, everybody said, well, it's preseason. Well, that's okay, but he still can roll out, run and throw. When he throws on the run, it's amazing how accurate he is.
Sure.
It's as good as in the pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I mean, he's got the talent, and like I said, saw a couple last week and the week, not last week, like the week before. I noticed he was running, his head was always downfield looking for who's coming open, and he hit the ball, so. And Odunzi's gonna be a great receiver.
I said, he'll be a #1 receiver.
Yeah, and I gotta give a little kudos to one guy in the
Yeah, go ahead, David.
organization that, you know, we probably don't talk about. Ryan Poles has done a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to put this team together. And, you know, for 2 years, he was biding his time, obviously, just waiting to see what he had to do. And I like the fact how he treated Justin Fields.
Sure.
No, he did a
With
great job.
respect,
Very
he did
respectful.
well by him, and even Justin Fields said that. So.
All right, $1 million question.
I like
Yep.
the organization.
Angela, you can ask this question.
Are we building on the lakefront or are we going to Arlington?
Well, we're gonna go to that story now, okay. I have a funny feeling the Bears stay in Chicago. Grant?
I don't see how.
Yeah,
And
I don't see how they build a new stadium in Chicago.
okay, so you still think Arlingtonites is a viable option?
It depends how long they wanna wait
Sure.
to get a deal done, but I think they wanna do something before, before.
I don't think the
Yeah,
Red
Sunday next year. We'll start going.
We are correct in saying that they did buy the land now.
Yeah,
Yes.
they do.
They own the property.
David, your thoughts on what Brant and Angela?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I watched this negotiation. The state of Illinois doesn't want to help the Bears.
Okay,
Pritzker said that.
not to interrupt, it's funny, they're ready to help a Jerry Reinsdorf, whose team is in a shambles.
Right, he's terrible.
Terrible.
31 wins.
31 wins, yeah.
But
And they're
anyway,
gonna help.
so
But he's politically
the
correct.
city of Chicago, the property the Bears want is basically the same property Obama wanted to build his library.
And he went,
And the Friends of the Park wouldn't let him do it.
Do it.
Okay, so I'm not so sure the city, these people boycotting anybody building something beautiful on the lakefront. I mean, what they had planned for it looked gorgeous. But they still have to please a lot of people to get in there, and I don't think they're gonna be able to. If Obama couldn't get his library built
Sure.
there, I don't think the Bears are gonna get it, you know.
This could be again, the major political stumbling block for Chicago, right?
but you know, most major metro teams, they're not in the city proper.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
They're
yeah.
everywhere.
the Dallas Cowboys aren't in Dallas, they're in Urban.
They're in Irvine,
Irving,
right,
Irving,
right,
whatever.
right.
I mean, LA is in Inglewood.
Yeah, the New York Giants and Jets,
Right.
they're in the Meadowlands in New Jersey.
You know, I have to go back to
Right?
90s, yeah, they're in the Meadowlands, right, where I think Jimmy Huff is. But, no,
That's for another
It could be
podcast.
under the field right now.
yeah, exactly.
For another interview.
I have to tell you, this goes back to 1973, 74, when the father, Mayor Daley, the father of the Bears, were gonna move to Arlington. He did come out and say, you'll be the Arlington Bears. You will not be the Chicago Bears.
Well, I don't think they can tell that team to do that. I mean, they can name themselves whatever they want, you know.
Sure.
They're still the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Exactly.
In Irving, Texas. So,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
the New York
The
Giants
number
and
one-
New York Jets are in New Jersey.
The
So,
Dallas Cowboys are the number one value team in the NFL.
I know.
Wow,
I know.
well, let's talk about the schedule, because I really don't know the schedule right now, except I asked Grant and Angelo tonight. We should open it up with the time. Is the schedule easy, Grant?
It's
In
weak.
your eyes, is it schedule?
It's the easiest schedule in our
When
division.
you're a last place team, it's easy.
Yeah,
So this is a time where, okay, now everybody's got this big question mark over it, but it's a question mark.
Right.
Correct me, gentlemen, that it's a question mark where it's looking more on the positive than the negative, correct?
I think everybody
Yes.
has a lot of high hopes.
Yeah.
And he's gonna prove us that he can do the job. I think.
Sure. Grant, you were
I,
gonna say something?
I think one of the pluses, we've been talking a lot about the offense. I think one of the pluses of this team is the defense.
Yeah.
Sure,
They're gonna hold the opposing offense to limited yards, I
Sure.
think, and give the ball back to the offense in good field position. We can play the field position game, thus making it a lot easier on our offense to bring it down the field and score.
Sure.
And with our kicking game, like Angelo said, you know, we could really, make some,
oh
headway
yeah,
there.
for sure. It's a mixture of young talent and veterans, Angelo. You foresee this is a great mix.
Yes, I do, and I also see. Again, I'm gonna go back to Eberflus.
Yeah.
If he could just do a touch of Phil Jackson with all the talent, he'll guide this team. We'll go right to the top.
Sure.
Now, that's a feat in itself. because
Oh, without a doubt.
To do that week in and week out, no one realized even what the Bulls had. That was tough to do.
Right, yeah.
There's a
So-
progression.
He's got phenomenal talent. I finally saw a personality on a guy that I thought last year he did not have. I think he can do this.
You're talking about the
He
personality.
can do
He is-
it with.
he is like a different guy.
Team leaders in the clubhouse.
Sure.
Hey, guys,
Sure.
the Bears are one of the youngest teams in the NFL.
And they are the
Even
youngest
with
team
some
in the-
veterans, yeah. I mean, but they are one of the youngest age teams in the NFL, so they can,
Coach would be the key.
yeah, I mean, they could have a little run here, you know.
Did we change defensive coordinators? Let's go back to
Yes.
the 10%. And our defensive coordinator, his name is?
Oh,
I have lost.
Handpicked by him.
Handpicked by him,
And
okay.
you know what? It'll be run the way he wants.
is his
it
name
run.
Washington?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't wanna be ignorant, I forgot his name.
I know, I'm
forgot
just
to.
trying to
But
think.
you know what? It's gonna be exactly what Eberflus was doing at the end of
Right,
last year.
right.
And of course, Eberflus was a defensive coach
Defensive coach.
before he came to
Well,
Chicago.
Eberflus, from what I understand, even with the new coordinator, he was gonna call the plays.
Okay,
He's gonna call the defense, so.
yeah,
Did you see the interview with Eberflus and his coach when he played college ball?
Yes,
And the coach was?
Nick Saban.
next Saban. Okay, well,
Greatest mind in
a
football.
legend, and,
One of the greatest minds in football.
Yeah,
He's now on ESPN.
Yeah.
I love watching, listening to him on ESPN.
let
exactly.
me ask you a question, Mr. Conenna.
Yes, thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
All this talk, and obviously you follow the Bears too.
Yes, yeah.
What's your opinion?
I really do think it's gonna be a positive season. I do see them, I see them, looking at their schedule, that's why I brought up the schedule to you gentlemen. I see them in every game and, you know, I'm at to the point here that they could be 11-6.
I
That
thought,
11 could be huge.
I thought 12-5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brant brought up earlier before we went on the interview tonight, you know, he goes, John, you know, 10 maybe doesn't make it, but Brant.
11 does.
11 does, and they could do it. I think they're gonna be in every game. I don't see this schedule, the Bears being blown out like they were in the first half of the season last
No.
year. Brant, your thoughts?
No, I think they'll do very well. I think, most of the good teams, lead in takeaways versus turnovers, and if we can lead in takeaways versus turnovers, I think we've got a really good chance of really having a good season.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I think our defense Honestly, they're turnover hungry. I mean, they're creating
Number one
turnovers.
defense.
Yeah, I mean, they're really improved.
It's a little too early to say
Yeah,
that this
yeah.
defense
It
could
is.
be like the, I'll never forget.
No, don't bring that up.
No, but I want to just bring up this point. In 1984, the Bears had to play the NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
And from that game,
It
game,
was after
they
the-
learned, okay, we know now what we have to do. I
Right.
think this year could be like that 84 year.
John, the rules are different, they can't play that.
Well, I understand, yeah, we were talking about,
The offensive line on the other side, when the Bears were playing, feared them.
right, exactly,
Right.
exactly. I mean, it's hard to compare it to the greatest
Yeah,
defense
you
we
can't do that, yeah, no, they feared them.
we ever had, for sure. Can we compare the confidence and the arrogance of a Caleb Williams, Grant Barton, to a Jim McMahon in the future?
But.
We'll
I
feed up
think,
that question.
I think you kind of can, but the difference is, Caleb Williams has a lot more talent than.
Much more.
Jim McMahon, right, coming out of all
But
that.
Jim
Jim
didn't
McMahon
have,
was at the right place at the right
Right
he
time.
didn't need the
With
talent.
the right guys.
And he did have that confidence and arrogance, which helped the team win, no
Sure.
doubt.
Sure,
But now Caleb Williams has that along with the talent.
right. And back then, of course, we had receivers like,
Willie Gault.
McKinnon, Willie Gault, so we had, so some really good tight ends then too.
And don't forget the coach.
Yeah, well, we had Mike
Yeah.
Ditka and,
He willed them to win. He did.
yes, yes.
And
You
Buddy
remember?
Ryan.
Yeah,
Buddy
Buddy
Ryan.
Ryan,
It's a
defensive.
great defensive coach.
You remember the time it was a Detroit game on a Monday night? And the Bears were behind.
Yes, yes, yes.
And Ditka
And
called
he-
the timeout. And Emery Moorhead came over to the sideline and he grabbed Moorhead by the throat.
Those.
And he was yelling at him, screaming at the top of his lungs. He hits him on the back. They go out there, score a touchdown and win the game.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. It was a Monday night game.
Yeah.
And
That Detroit's coach reminds me of Big Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Campbell is a great, Dan Campbell is a great,
He's a
tough
he's a
Tough
dude,
guy,
man.
tough guy.
guy. And he's got his team buying into his system.
And Dan Campbell last year had the game where he was in the lead. And of course, then
Well, he's a gambler.
he's a gambler.
Yeah.
Right,
He's a
exactly.
He
Exactly.
doesn't believe in traditional, let's kick, the extra point, let's go for two. Or a 46 yard line, let's try to field.
Sure.
Let's tie the game and
Yeah, he's,
go to overtime.
but you know what? The owners love him for being that way. So
Yeah.
you know what? Good for him.
Yeah, he had a chance to win and he took the chance.
But I'll tell you another crazy thing. All the years I've had the tickets, I've never offered to sell a preseason game. So a friend of mine said one night, a couple of weeks ago, he goes, "Did you sell your preseason? Because you never go to those." And I went, "It's kind of hard. It's a rough time, rough time of the year. Just try selling them, see what happens." And put them up in 5 days, they were sold.
There was hope.
I've never had a preseason game sold.
Yeah, there's a lot of optimism.
What is that tell you? I was just
That
gonna
tells
say
you
the
the
optimism.
Enthusiasm in Chicago is
The,
out of,
the fan
out of
base
their
is
mind.
off the chart.
We'll see what happens, but honestly,
that place is gonna be loud the first
I
game.
just hope we don't put too much pressure on Williams.
Yes, yes,
That kinda, I don't think,
He can
I don't
handle
think it'll,
Chicago.
I don't
He
think
can
it'll
handle
ruin him,
He can
yeah,
handle Chicago.
Yeah.
He can handle it.
yeah.
New York,
ready.
different story, maybe.
I wanna tell you something, if he wins games and the Bears start playing great, this kid is gonna own the city of
And
Chicago.
own the
He'll have a key.
Yeah,
The
the mayor's gonna have to give him the key.
No, but that's great that you guys brought up the, this part, because that's what,
The fan base is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
that first game here in Chicago coming up, what, in 2 weeks? Is gonna be phenomenal, because it's gonna be loud.
But guys, we have a weak schedule.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
So you
Hey,
gotta be
listen,
smart about it.
listen, when you lose, but then you should beat the teams that you're supposed to beat once you get better.
Right.
So that all stems that
It'll be a-
rolling on to getting to get better teams and beating them too.
It'll be a learning
Sure.
year.
Yeah. So
You know, again, let's go
Learning.
back to.
Winning is contagious.
Oh, yes, winning is contagious, without a doubt. Let's go back to Eberflus for a minute. We've talked about some players, we've talked about the receivers, we've talked about the O-line, we've talked about the running backs. Big changes with Eberflus. I see, even his makeup now is the person has changed.
yeah,
He basically, for me, looked like this buddy that he coached that was looking to give. I was almost comparing him to a Mark Trestman. Your thoughts, Dave?
I agree.
yeah. I mean, Listen, Trustman, you know, I was thinking about this the other day about probably the worst coach the Bears hired. It had to be Trustman.
Yes,
Or the guy from St. Louis, Mike Martz.
okay, yeah, oh,
Those are the two worst coaches I've ever seen come to Chicago, and everybody had high hopes, like March was gonna put on what do they call it?
The greatest show on earth.
The greatest show on earth. And I was like,
In the NFC North, not gonna happen.
and I thought, he's the guy who got rid of, our tight end, Greg Olson.
Oh, yeah.
Because he didn't want to use a tight end in the system.
Right.
Greg Olson had a great career.
Career.
Like 15 years,
Caroline was phenomenal.
and was probably one of the top tight ends in the league.
sure, without a doubt.
And your March didn't want it.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does that tell you?
And I love Greg Olson as an analyst on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, tremendous, tremendous. Okay.
Now he lost his spot to Brady.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
The
Sorry,
goat,
guys.
the goat.
the goat, yeah, the goat comes in and takes it. All right, we're down to basically loud here in the last 4 or 5 minutes. The time here is unbelievable. We started this thing about 8:30 and we're already at 10 after 9. We could talk all night.
Can we go till 2?
Yeah, go.
Hey, John, do you think people lose interest or
Yeah.
something?
No, not this year. They won't lose it. Okay, so we all have our concerns.
Yeah.
And we've all done it in separate ways on a golf course. And when we've gone out to dinner, we've all had our concerns. So we now have this puzzle in front of us. What, David, we'll start with you, and we'll go around the table here. What is the puzzle? What are the pieces of the puzzle that are missing right now? Chicago Bears to win that division, David.
Well, I think,
What do you think is the concern?
okay, I think, like, we've all talked about the offensive line.
Yes.
I think team wise, they've got a lot of strengths in every other area. I mean,
What is their major strength in your eyes, David?
I think the secondary, Bears defensive
Okay.
secondary.
That
I
was
think-
brought up tonight. Very good
And
point.
they're getting turnovers. They've got some great players. These guys are hustling, you know.
Sure.
And the line, Gervon Dexter, she's showing a lot this year. He's a second year guy too.
Yeah.
So he's starting to get that rush going and they're gonna be okay, you know. But if I say the puzzle part, try to firm up that offensive line if you can somehow.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Sure. Grant, I know you brought up the concern of the O line. We'll start them by turning it around on you and then you'll go back to that concern. What is with Grant Barton, what he saw, are you surprised? What is the strength?
Strengths, we have a lot of strengths, I think.
Yes.
Which is a positive. Obviously, our defense, I think, is a big strength for us. And our receiving core and our running backs and our new quarterback.
And we can honestly say, Brent, there is depth now.
Yeah.
I think so, yes.
There is depth.
There is depth. I'd like to see more depth at the offensive line position in case somebody gets hurt.
And you know what? Before we went on tonight, before I let Angelo answer his strength and the weakness part. Before we went on tonight, we were talking about number 17, Tyler Bates.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have finally, I think, a good backup quarterback. With the strengths of the depth.
Yeah.
Is Bajan
Yes.
a strong backup brand?
Oh, I think he's a great backup.
Yeah.
And he was a backup last year. He proved to me last year that he was not afraid of a situation to walk into and
After he broke his thumb.
yeah,
Yeah.
not
Definitely.
afraid.
The
He's
guy went, he played 4 games, he won 2-2. So I mean,
Yeah.
and this is a team that wasn't doing well at this.
And wasn't afraid to
Right.
throw the ball, but what he had,
right.
The
right?
problem with, when we had Justin Fields, there was a lot of games that we thought we were gonna win. I remember a Cleveland game that we were ahead.
Right.
And how many games last year, like 3 or 4 games where the other team came back
Yeah,
Right.
and
Right.
took it from us.
we played 3 good quarters. In the last quarter, we
We give it back.
Something always crazy would happen.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Coaching,
could have been
the
coaching.
coaching has got
Yeah.
to take this team, young team.
Sure.
Youngest team in the league, with all their talent. And make them play to their strengths. That's
There's a
number-
game
that's
last year
Number
with-
1, number 2. The thing that nobody can control. Staying healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can stay healthy and have the phenomenal coaching staff,
Such a key.
get these kids to play their game to their strengths. You know what? There's no limit to where this team has talent.
They do it.
Angelo, you're talking now, and I know, the strength part.
But it's the
this-
coaching,
The coaching has become.
has to be week in and week out,
Sure,
and we gotta be lucky, because that's all it is
Yeah,
with the injuries.
on September 22nd last year was the end of the Bears season for me. September 22nd, you guys are gonna remember this game.
okay.
It was halftime. We went into the third quarter up against an old quarterback named Russell Wilson, and we were up 21-7.
The Denver game,
And the Denver
they
game.
humiliated us.
And they came back and beat us, and I said to myself, I'm not even gonna call Khoshaba, because I was already celebrating. And before you know it, the old man brought them back, but Wilson brought them back against a team that is not as talented and there's nothing.
Eberflus is not gonna let that happen this year.
Not anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is a key turning point that I think maybe an Eberflus is in that locker room with his defensive coordinator, with his offensive coordinator saying, hey, we're up 21-7. We're wrapping this baby up and sending it over to Christmas to the Barton house.
Right.
Yeah, so. Gentlemen, I really want to thank you for this evening.
Thank
This
you, John.
was fantastic. We
Thank
went
you,
on for
Dan.
about 35-40 minutes. We are gonna be back with this. Let's see, what's our halfway point, Grant?
About 8.5 games. So we'll
Okay,
get 9 games.
8.5 games, we are gonna be back. I am been visiting with these 3 Chicago Bear experts. They're very passionate men about this team. And there's
We're
always,
not the biggest experts, but
No,
we're just regular guys.
I really appreciate you guys coming on a conversation with John Conenna. And like we said, let's get to that 8.5 game marker.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do it over another night. Thank you, David, for having us tonight.
Thank
The
you,
cigars are
Thank
wonderful.
you, David.
I'm gonna need an amaretto after this because my
That's
mouth
fine.
is dry.
That's fine.
But I want to thank David Khoshaba, my far left, Grant Barton, and I want to thank Angelo Christopher. We are looking forward to game 1, which is gonna be September, is it the
2
4th?
weeks.
2 weeks, so it's after Labor Day.
Yeah.
It will be
David, Brent, John,
John,
Yes.
can I ask you a question? Are we gonna
Chicago.
leave out the 5 questions?
Yeah, well, I have to, but then I gotta
You
ask,
did
I have
15.
to ask 15
You
questions.
did 15.
But I'm gonna ask all of you one question.
Okay, all right.
Just one.
I want to know. Yeah.
Just one question. Okay, I've been out with these gentlemen numerous times, at golf, dinner and everything else. So I'll ask all them one question and, each it'll be the same question. All right, Dave,
Yes.
when you're watching that Chicago Bear game, what is the go-to meal at halftime for a Dave Khoshaba?
At halftime.
Yeah,
I look forward to the dinner we go out afterward. You know, I like a good hot dog or Italian, or a good Italian beef. If I'm gonna eat at halftime. You know.
all right, great, okay.
Yeah.
Grant, I'm gonna ask you a different type of question.
All right,
oh,
Name your top 5 quarterbacks that you saw from the time you were a teenager to now in the world. Your top 5 quarterbacks, because I know you're high on Williams, so I'm gonna shoot you the top 5. We can go back to the old era into the newer. Who are your top 5 Grant Barton picks?
I don't really like that question.
Okay,
I'll answer.
I
it.
like, definitely like Brett Favre.
okay,
Uh. I like John Elway, I like, Peyton Manning, I like Dan Marino.
Okay.
Joe
Joe Montana.
Montana.
okay.
I would go in a huddle with Joe Montana. all
And
my-
Angelo, I'm gonna leave you with something. Who are your top, and you, I'm gonna narrow it down, your top 5 middle linebackers in the world, the old era to the new
The
era?
old,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old school middle.
Yeah.
The one with different rules with the NFL.
Yeah, different rules, everything. Top 5 middle linebackers, these are ferocious, in your face, Angelo Christopher style.
Okay, ferocious. Played the game with a different set of rules, but probably one of the tops in the league, Mike Singletary.
Okay,
As far as insanity, Buckus.
I knew.
Yeah.
you got 3 more?
LT,
Oh,
Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor of the New York Giants.
But
one of
then
the-
again, the Giants always tried to outdo the Bears' #1 defense, and I never
Right.
bought into that, so no, I'm not gonna go with him, sorry.
Okay,
I would just stick with the 2 I mentioned.
all right, you're gonna do, well, I'm gonna, since I didn't give Dave a football question, now I'm gonna give Dave a football.
All right, all right.
Dave, your top 5 wide receivers in the world. Since we're talking about Williams running and gunning and everything else, who are your top 5? And you're allowed 4 outside of the Bears and 1 Chicago Bear.
Oh, that's really tough.
Steve Largent?
Oh, one of the best in Seattle.
Seattle's top guy.
What was the guy's name for Frisco? Dwight?
Dwight Clark,
Tight end, no, you're talking
Yeah,
about Jerry
yeah,
Rice.
Jerry
Jerry Rice,
Clark was great too.
Clark was great too. The catch,
Yeah, Lynn Swan.
Lynn
That's
Swan,
right.
elegant.
And bear wise, I don't know, I think the book's still open. I don't think we've ever had like I guess Johnny Morris, I guess you would say was a great receiver, right? So, but I didn't watch back then, so I.
Basically, I mean, he was a flanker, but he
Right.
was a
Well,
good
as far as flash speed, probably Willie Gall.
goal.
Yeah, well, no, but Willie was not a great receiver.
No, he had speed.
I'm gonna bring one out of the Bears. The best Bears wide receiver I ever saw.
Yeah,
He wore the number 45. Does anybody know who he is?
no.
Dick Gordon.
Big
On
Gordon.
that note, we will close it out.
Thank
here
you,
tonight.
John.
Thank you,
This
John.
has been great.
Go
Thank you
Bears.
very much. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
And
Go
this will
Fox,
go out
go
on
Fox,
YouTube and Spotify. Again, thank you to Dave Khoshaba, Grant Barton, and of course, Angelo Christopher. We'll be back in 8 weeks. Thank you.
On sale now at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble stores. The Twins, A Journey of a Lifetime. The brothers and authors Tony and Carl Ruzicka take us through a journey of Chicago sports history and their memories of a bygone era. Purchase your copy today.